The first one you have
Okay.
for us is
Uh,
called The Accountant 2. Are you not liking this one, or what do you
well,
think?
I'm cranky today. I realized
Oh,
I thought before I come on the air, I thought I got to get out of this cranky mood because I'm really cranky about these movies.
um,
I bet if you had to guess what I thought about the accountant too, you probably could guess, but I'm going to try to be fair to this movie. Okay, this is an action thriller follow-up to 2016's The Accountant,
mhm.
where Ben Affleck, he returns, he plays this autistic accountant, the CPA of the title, who makes his living sanitizing fraudulent financial and accounting records of criminal and terrorist organizations, right, that are experiencing this internal embezzlement. In other words, he launders money for some of the most dangerous criminals in the world. That's his job. And he's autistic. So that's kind of an interesting and an unusual premise.
Yeah.
Well, he and the original creative team, the director Gavin O'Connor, the writer Bill Dubuque, and several of the cast members from the first one return in this twisty, tonally all over the place sequel. The premise of which this one is that this Ben Affleck's character of Christian Wolf, the autistic accountant, he's contacted to solve the murder of this government official played by J.K. Simmons, who's back in this movie. But, he gets killed pretty early on in the film. That's not a spoiler because you see that in the trailers. Anyway, it's an okay movie. If you love to go to the movies to be entertained, it reasonably succeeds. It's kind of fairly intelligent. It's an intelligent distraction. But the actors are good. The pace of the film is pretty nimble. It moves at a nice clip. The story's kind of ridiculous when you think about it, but you're not really supposed to think about the story too much. But I'm all during this, I'm going, why am I supposed to be invested in all of this? And who really cares about these people, these characters? To me, this is just more Hollywood IP to go alongside all of the other action and superhero IPs that really serve now as the bread and butter of the film industry.
Mhm.
And if this film's successful, you can bet your bottom dollar that there'll be an Accountant 3. But for me, honestly, I just, who cares really? I mean, to me, time, the older I get, time is such a precious commodity. It's gold. And every time I see movies like this, I'm reminded of that because watching movies like this makes me think, okay, fine. This is an entertainment distraction. Fine, but I don't need this kind of entertainment distraction. And there go 2 hours of my life I'm never going to get back. I don't know. What am I trying to say? Look, if this is your thing, I say have at it, enjoy it, have a great time. If you care, by all means, check it out. But for me, I could care less. These movies, with all due respect, are just a waste of time for me.
Mhm.
It's just more of the same stuff that you
Yeah.
see all the time. And if you want more of the same, yeah. But did we really need this movie? This is the thing. Yes, according to the bean counters, we did, meaning all the numbers added up. It looked like a surefire moneymaker. And yeah, I mean, it reminded me yet again that the studios are now more beholden than ever to the multinational corporations who own them. And the bottom line, money is what they want more, in my opinion. They're more interested in money than they are in making good movies or just more interesting movies. For all of the flaws of the old-timey studios and the moguls who ran them, at least those guys were filmmakers and loved movies. Yeah, they treated films as a business because they were a business, but they felt if you made quality for people, top-notch stuff, then the money would follow. And I mean, I know it's a different time, but Hollywood now, it's all just about the bottom line. And this movie to me reeks of that.
Yeah.
And I just, you know what? I saw it a couple of days ago and it made me cranky, and I'm still cranky
Boy,
for having sat through the thing in the first place. It's over 2 hours too. Thank
they
you
really
very
rubbed you
much.
the wrong way. They really hit a nerve, Tim Sika.
Yeah, and I'm in the
Yeah.
minority on this. The critics are going bonkers over it. Whatever. I don't get it. I don't get it.
All right,
So
we'll move. Go ahead.
I'm going to try and be less cranky as we go along here, but I'm not promising anything.
I don't know. I kind of like Cranky Tim. I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Okay, all right, if you don't mind.
Let's do Neighborhood Watch. This
Yeah,
is
this was
a
yeah,
crime thriller, you say?
kind of. This was a movie that, well, not a great movie, maybe not even a good one. It had enough interesting stuff in it. I'm going to recommend this movie because I don't want to be a total crank this week, but it's called Neighborhood Watch, and it's a kind of combo crime thriller comedy drama buddy movie picture. And it's about this young guy played by Jack Quaid, who's to the left in the poster. He's an actor who seems to be popping up in just about every movie I'm seeing these days. He plays this character. He has this mental illness, which he's trying to manage on a daily basis. He's always trying to balance his meds and stuff. And he's really struggling. Nobody will hire him because of his past. He hasn't worked for 10 years. And one day he witnesses this abduction of this woman in an alley. But when he tries to report it, the police don't believe him. They run a check on him, and his mental illness and his minor rap sheet pop up on the computer. So they just go, this guy's nuts. So in a last-ditch attempt to get somebody to help him, he kind of reluctantly turns to his next-door neighbor, who's played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who's a really good actor. He's in the poster there to the right, who's this kind of cantankerous and bitter retired security guard to kind of help him find this missing woman. So they go on this journey, this trek, the two of them. And this is a dark movie because it also deals with human sex trafficking, parental abuse, and mental illness. But it's kind of played with a light touch, kind of. I saw it and I watched it as a comedy. And while I think the film doesn't necessarily move the needle in terms of cinema, it was a weirdly easy watch. Maybe because it seemed to be like playing like a comedy, even though it wasn't really funny, not very funny at all. The script twists and turns, require you to look the other way sometimes, and you're going, really, this is happening now? Seriously, this character is now doing what? But the narrative is very breezy. It flows along. The actors are very, very good, and there is this kind of emotional payoff at the end that's kind of satisfying, weirdly enough. I like this movie. It doesn't mean I think it's the best movie ever made. I'm still wondering if it's even a good one, but I enjoyed it to the extent that I can recommend it. It's just a kind of a easygoing, fun watch that deals with a lot of dark issues and dark themes. It's playing in theaters, select Bay Area theaters, and it drops on VOD at the same time. So you can go to the theater to see it if you want, or you can rent it at home. Check it out.
This next one is a Korean crime drama, and I'm interested, if only because of the name. It's called Yadang the Snitch.
Yeah, well, this was a kind of a nice surprise. You said it's a Korean film. It's in Korean with English subtitles, and boy, they come on the screen fast and furious, so you really have to pay attention. It's called Yadang the Snitch. It's a Korean drug crime drama movie. And at the outset, I should explain that in the context of Korean criminal slang, Yadang refers to people who act as brokers or informants, typically providing information about drug crimes to law enforcement. They often do this to avoid prosecution or get lighter sentences, and they sometimes make money in the process. And apparently this is all going on in Korean drug culture. So having said that, this movie is about this guy played by this very charismatic South Korean actor I've never seen before. His name is Kang Ha-Newell, I think. And in the movie, he's set up. The character that he plays is set up by these drug dealers, and he's falsely accused of a crime he didn't commit. He still does sketchy things, but anyway, this is very, very serious, and he's sent to prison. And while he's in prison, he's offered this deal by this state prosecutor to become a Yadang. Again, a Yadang is basically an informant or an undercover operative. And he's offered this deal in exchange for a reduced sentence, right? So he takes the deal, and he really shakes up the prosecutor's drug investigations, which bring the prosecutor a lot of prestige and notoriety. But concurrently, he also really pisses off the heads of the cartels, who want nothing more than to just set fire to this guy, literally. Yeah, and actually, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I don't want to no spoilers. So this is a very interesting, agreeably entertaining, adrenaline fueled kind of gateway into the Korean drug scene. I mean, and it's a portrait. I liked it because I like movies that are portraits of the fine line between the law abider, you know, the law enforcer, and the law breaker. It really looks at like how sometimes, you know, the people on the right side of the law do sketchy things that really should be putting them on the you know, the wrong side of the law. I like these kinds of movies, and there's no heroes and no villains in this movie for the most part. They're just human beings rationalizing their behaviors in this sea of personal and institutionalized corruption. I mean, everybody appears to be corrupt in this movie, even the so-called good guys. So I like that. It's a violent film. It's a fast-paced film. It's kind of exhilarating in this viscerally sick kind of way. There is plot to burn. Most of it is tangled, but there's plot to burn. For the most part, I liked it. It's a story of mistrust and double dealings and betrayals and people selling other people out at the drop of a hat for personal gain. There's just layers of corruption operating within the story, and on balance, I recommend it. And if you don't mind the subtitles, on the print that I watched, the English translation was a bit sticky at times. I mean, it seemed like who was ever translating it was not. You get enough, but on balance, I think the movie more than provides like most of the deliverables to diehard fans of Korean crime dramas. So, I'm recommending it. I you know, it was sent to me by a publicist. I probably would not have even heard about it, but it does open in theaters today. So I was glad to see it and glad to recommend it.
Well, we'll now move to this one. This is already on my list, so I'm really looking forward to what you think about it. It's called The Legend of Ochi.
Yeah, this is by far the best film I've seen this week of all the new releases. Certainly, it's the most original, it's the most artistic, and the one that stayed with me the most long after having viewed it. It's called The Legend of Ochi. It stars Willem Dafoe and Emily Watson. They play these estranged parents of this young farm girl who's taught from, you know, day one of her life to be afraid of these creatures, these reclusive creatures. They're also kind of scary looking, known as the Ochi. And one day she's out walking. She's sent out, you know, by her father to check animal traps. And she happens upon this lost, frightened, and injured baby Ochi that she makes a deep connection with. And so, despite what she's been taught, she's determined to return this baby to its family. So this is a very odd but very different and strangely affecting drama fantasy, which is hard to put into words. Oh, look at the baby Ochi. I liked it a lot. I'm not. I think I liked it because, number one, it wasn't even remotely what I expected, and two, the coda of the film just knocked me sideways emotionally. I was an emotional wreck when this movie was over. Really? And I didn't want to. I tried to avoid. I went to a critic screening, and the rep for the film, they always want to get your immediate reaction, and I tried to avoid the publicist because I didn't want her to see that I was like crying. But she grabbed me and I said, I really love this. I loved it. I'm a wreck. It was really good. We'll talk later. Anyway, I think it's this movie has like a resonance with a capital R on this deep and spiritual level. That's the big thing this movie's got going for it. The ending is a bigger emotional wipeout, at least it was for me, and more organically satisfying than the ending of E.T., which never fails to make me cry, that movie. And as a critic, I think this is what I find most impressive about this movie was its singularity of vision. And by that I mean, okay, What it does, Kim, is it takes all of these cliches and archetypes that are in essence careworn and cliched and images that we're all familiar with. You look at the surface of this movie and you look at the photo there and you think, oh, it's going to be like E.T. Oh, it's going to be like
Right.
the Dark Crystal. Oh, it's Gremlins.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes all of these cliches and it transcends them. Or no, it puts them together in such a way that's hard to put your finger on as to create something wholly different and original. Star Wars did that too, masterfully. Even George Lucas has said, this is an homage in a way to the old Flash Gordon movie serials. It was a load of cliches put together in a way that in effect created something distinct, wholly original and new. And that's this movie. You may think, oh, it's going to be cute like E.T. Well, that kind of does the movie a disservice. It's a very different, strangely moving motion picture and touching with this. I think it has a 21st century message underneath all of it about our connection to nature, to other living creatures, to each other, and to all the real stuff that unites us as a species. I found it amazing. I found it wondrous. I thought it was magical. It's really a work of art. And so to anybody listening or watching right now, if they had to choose one movie to see this week, I say make it The Legend of Ochi. This is the movie to see. This is movie. And if you have kids,
that's my question.
I don't know. Yeah.
Because if you're crying at the end of the movie, I'm thinking, I have an emotional kid who's really sensitive. So is this the movie that I'm wanting to?
Yeah, I would say because it's emotionally satisfying. It's not depressing. It's just deeply moving how this movie sorts out all of its plot stuff. And I'm going, and it's just
you got me with The Legend of Ochi. I have to go.
Yeah, you have to go. And I hope I'm not overselling it. I'm just trying to express how it occurred to me. I just thought it was amazing, and it's so original. And the guy that made it, his name is Isaiah Saxon. He wrote and directed. He's actually from Santa Cruz. This is his feature film directorial debut. I got an opportunity to interview him, and he's the real deal. He's a true artist. I cannot believe he made this movie this way in this accountant to culture of cinema that we're all living through. It's amazing that he made this movie and that it turned out so well. I just loved it. I'm recommending it to everybody that asks me, what's a good movie to see. It opens today. So, and I hope it does well. It's different. I think some of the critics, when I was talking to Isaiah, he said some of the critics aren't getting it. I haven't read any of the reviews because I didn't want to be influenced by any of that when I saw it. I saw it stone cold before I really knew anything about it. So he's like, well, so admittedly, he even admits it's a different kind of movie. But yes, if you go, you absolutely have to let me know what you thought of it and what your kids thought of it too.
Well, I'm looking at this is Ochi. Is this
He's
the
so
name?
cute.
He's adorable, but I have to say, Ochi looks like a furry blue Yoda. And so
Yoda, yeah. To me he looks like one of the Maugways in Gremlins, one of the cute ones, not that ones with the teeth. But yeah, Yoda too. Of course.
So
and the eyes.
I see the Yoda eyes. Yeah, I see the Yoda ears. And I'm hoping that the Legend of Ochi people don't get sued by the Star Wars people for the
I'm sure
silhouette.
Well, yeah. Well, it's an A24 release. I'm sure they went through all their legal checks and stuff before they, were confident enough to release this picture. But Yoda, I didn't even think of Yoda. See, but this movie is its own, no pun intended. It's its own animal. It's totally. Yeah, it's like, in a way you've seen it before, but you've never really seen it before, not until you've seen this movie. It's just, this movie killed me in a good way. Yeah.
Trevor thinks it looks like a tarsier. Tarsier?
What's a tarsier?
I have to look it up.
Trevor, we really need to look it up. Yeah.
Nullifidian says it reminds me of the cute little guys on Galaxy Quest. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, like I say, it's a kind of like a cliche. It's like, it's reminiscent of a lot of things we've seen before. But
and maybe that's what they were going for, right?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is they didn't use any CGI in the it was all like puppetry. There's a on IMDb I ran across this little trailer about the film, and they were showing how that they gave life to this little Ochi. There were like 8 people. It's like what Jim Henson did. It's like they had 8 people on the puppet, some manipulating the arms, and there were 2 others that were manipulating the facial expressions. So they were like, actually the puppeteers were creating a performance when they shot this. There's no CGI. I mean, there's some CGI the what do you call it, the background scenes and stuff. They had to use blue screen, but in the things that mattered, they really did nothing but practical effects. And Yoda was originally a practical effect too. He went CGI later, but in The Empire Strikes Back, he was a puppet. And there's just something about human beings having to contort and do things to make the puppet have certain expressions and stuff. They were really, puppeteers were actors in this movie. It's fascinating story behind the making of the movie too. I recommend people go online and research that. It's just a fascinating story of how this movie came to be. It's a miracle that they made it, and it's so good, so good.
Here's the baby Ochi, and here's a Targier.
Oh yeah, okay, but the eyes, look at the Targier's eyes are kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know. The ears are not quite Yoda-ish. They stick up too much, but I could see the resemblance.
There is a resemblance. Oh, yeah.
I know he's really cute.
I wanted one of those. I wanted an Ochi when this movie was over. Like, where can I adopt an Ochi? Well, they're not real. So
is this by Disney? Are we going to see people walking around with Ochis on their shoulder, the magnetic Ochis, or?
I don't know, but it's funny. I interviewed the director and the representative from A24 when I left. He gave me a book with some background information on the movie, and he handed me this fake set of teeth that figure into the movie, and I know people are going to be walking around with these like fake teeth. That I do know, because that's one of the tchotchkes that they're handing out for this movie. I don't know if there's going to be anything else, but
you can't see his teeth in the picture here.
No, you can't, because that's what he isn't cute when he shows his teeth. But but yeah. Anyway, yeah, I have a set. I wish I don't have them with me. I should have thought to bring them on so I could have shown them anyway.
Tim's classic movie recommendation of the week is a movie that was made in 1954. We're rolling it back to The Country Girl. Look at that.
Have you ever seen it?
I haven't, and it's got Grace Kelly in it and Bing Crosby.
Yeah, this is a superb drama from 1954, as you said. It's hard to believe that this movie came out 71 years ago. It's based on a Clifford Odets play with drums beating and cinematic flags waving, boasts this amazing cast: Bing Crosby, Grace Kelly, and William Holden, all of whom they just explode on the screen individually and collectively in a story. This is a story about an alcoholic has-been actor who's given one last chance to resurrect his career. And I could be wrong about this, Kim, but I believe, and I should have checked my sources on this. If anybody out there knows better, maybe they can respond in the comments. But I believe this may be the first Hollywood drama that seriously examined codependency in alcoholic marriages. Bing Crosby plays the alcoholic actor. Grace Kelly, in an Oscar-winning performance as Best Actress from 1954, she plays the long-suffering wife. And William Holden, they're all in the photo there, that plays the theater director who's determined to give this alcoholic actor a second chance, not only at his career, but at life. And watching this movie again the other day, I know this sounds very curmudgeonly when I say this, but watching it again, I mean, you're struck by the fact that not only do they not make movies like this anymore, but in my opinion, nobody would even know how to make a movie like this anymore. There's a quality to it, certainly in terms of its scripting, its adaptation, because they had to adapt this play to the screen and make it appear to be like a movie. Its trio of performances that is really a thing of the past. I mean, Hollywood used to go, to the great playwrights and the great authors and to Broadway to get their material. Now it's the other way around. Broadway goes to Hollywood to make theatrical musical adaptations of Hollywood's mediocre movies. But that's another conversation. But anyway, back to The Country Girl. We don't hear much about this movie today, except for the fact that Grace Kelly beat out Judy Garland that year in the Oscar race for Best Actress. And I agree with the pundits. I think it should have been Judy's year. She was sublime in A Star Is Born. It was an amazing comeback for her after 4 years away from the screen. But Kelly is quite good. And for me, it's one of those wins where, okay, if it couldn't be Garland, then it was okay for the Academy to give it to Kelly. I had forgotten, or maybe I hadn't even realized, that she was only 24 when she made this picture. She had a very short film career, basically 6 years, from 1950 to 1956, after which, she went off to Monaco to become a princess. But she only made something like 13 movies. And in this one, one of the most beautiful women ever to appear in movies, was coming off all of these glamour parts. She was in 3 Hitchcock pictures that same year, I think. Rear Window, To Catch a Thief, Dial M for Murder, all of which played on her beauty and chic and style. And in this, she totally deglammed. And for her age, she was 24. She delivered a remarkable portrait of this exhausted, beaten down by life woman. And also watching it again, I always thought this was, in my memory, was Kelly's picture, but it's really Bing Crosby's, who is astonishing in his role as Frank Elgin, this broken alcoholic trying to make a career comeback, but still, fighting his own alcoholism. It is a great movie. And it's streaming on Prime. I think everybody should watch it. If you've never seen it, prepare to be dazzled.
Oh, okay. You got me convinced. I love how much you love this movie. Let's recap it all. The Accountant 2. Oh no. Well, this one really set Tim off. He said it's an okay movie. You called it an intelligent distraction, which actually seems kind of good, but then you said the story is ridiculous and you couldn't get involved or invested in these characters. And you said, who cares? It's a waste of time. It's more of the same. And then you said, don't even bother. But if you like this kind of movie, if you want more of the same, then this is the movie for you. That's The Accountant 2. It set Tim in a bad mood this week. And so for that reason alone, we don't like The Accountant 2. This next movie is called Neighborhood Watch. And you said it's got some good acting in this movie. Satisfying ending. You liked it. You enjoyed it to the point that you could recommend it. You said it's a fun watch despite the dark issues involved in The Neighborhood Watch. The next one is called Yadang the Snitch, the Korean crime drama. You said it's got subtitles that move pretty fast, but it raises some interesting ethical questions. It's violent, it's fast-paced, but you liked it. So you say if you don't mind the subtitles here, then this movie is worth it. And so this is Yadang the Snitch. The best movie you saw this week is called The Legend of Ochi. You said it's original and artistic. It has a resonance, you said, on a deep spiritual level, which is interesting for a family movie. You said the ending of this movie is more satisfying than the ending of E.T. It takes cliches and makes something original and distinct and strangely moving. You called this movie a magical work of art. That is The Legend of Ochi. And I want to have that little picture. Ochi. And the last one, your classic movie recommendation of the week, is The Country Girl. And I love your knowledge of the history of this movie. You said it's just an amazing cast and a superb movie. And it's streaming. What did you say, on Amazon Prime?
So it's on Prime. Yes.
The movie we have to watch. It is The Country Girl from 1954. Tim Sika's classic movie recommendation of the week. There we have it. That's the recap.
Sounds good. Yeah. Great recap, Kim. Great recap. Yeah.
You've been busy this week. Great movie reviews, Tim. Thank you so much for sharing.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I guess we'll talk again next week.
We will. You send us off into the weekend with some good things to watch at the movies with Tim Sika. Bye, Tim.
Bye, Kim.
Bye.